People forget this. This is why Kiriko meta, even back when in the Brawl, this is why she was a thing. Because you could not play dive or spam or any variation of range versus a dive comp. Because you had a support that could TP in and kill you. This is one of the I guess the pillars of Overwatch fundamentals that I don't feel like I've put enough emphasis on in the past, and only in the last month or so have I actually started to put emphasis on, and that's range. So the nice thing about range that's also relatively simple to look at, but it has an enormous impact on how you solve situations like this, because you look at the enemy composition right now. What do you notice about their heroes that they're playing?
They're very ranged.
They're all ranged, right? So now that's very important because, I'm going to get sniped. Yeah, well, let's think deeper. How does that affect your positioning?
I'm going to have to play safer positions, probably more on low ground, if anything.
Now
and then make.
That's not exactly true. That's your initial gut feeling, but that's not exactly accurate. Because the first term that you said is safer positions, but that's wrong. That's not the word we're looking for. Reconsider.
Positions with more cover.
Okay, that's a good way of describing it. Let's keep thinking. What do they not have? They have no Tracer. They have no Genji. They have no Reaper.
They have no pressure.
They have no Junkrat. What are all similar about those kind of heroes? What range do those heroes play?
They're all more close range.
Right, so then let's consider your positioning. If you want to play here, that's not going to work versus this composition.
Yeah.
Correct? But what about a position like this?
Yeah, I can play more aggressive because they don't have that short close range.
Well, I don't think aggressive is the right word either.
Oh, not aggressive.
You see, I'm catching you at that because we need to break that habit, because it's not about aggressive or defensive. It could be both. You could play a short range. You could play here, right? This is very defensive, but it's short range, right?
Yeah, so I can play more short range positions.
Right, and they don't have the heroes to deal with that, right? Now, if you were to play, let's say here, this is ridiculously aggressive. But if you were to do this versus a Genji or a Junkrat, you would die immediately, right?
Yeah.
Versus this composition? I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't want you to think safer or more aggressive. I just want you to think I'm going to play to avoid their sightlines, and maybe that means I have the freedom to play in positions that normally I would not be able to play. See, they can't have their cake and eat it too. This composition is miserable to play at range versus, but they also are terrible at taking away these short flanks to you, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Now, if they were playing Genji Tracer, you could play a million miles away, play Spitelines, you could be the Widowmaker. So that's the takeaway here.
Okay.
And obviously, we've just come out of a meta where long-range heroes were not popular at all. Nobody was playing long-range heroes. But right now, obviously your Doomfist dies, so that's the problem number one. But like right now, here's the interesting thing. Their Widow has just gone up to Tigron here. Now, you need to be careful, obviously. But my first reaction here is not to back away, actually. You see what I'm saying?
It would be to pressure that Widow out, right?
Right. My first reaction is either to pressure out the Widow out now, or just hide, wait for my Doomfist to get a little bit closer, and then start dueling this Widow. Because if they... what are they going to do about me being here?
Yeah.
You know? Nothing. They might try and coach gun up, the Doomfist might dive you, and then what are you going to do?
Just TP out. You're
going to TP out to cover, drop to here, wrap around, go in with your Doomfist and do it again. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? Now, the irony here is that I went into this VOD with the, it's sad that they didn't nerf for healing, it's sad. But what might happen with the meta is you might get what you wanted. You might get a meta to where you still have to play Kiriko, but where your job is not to heal bot. Your job is to actually take short off-angle DPS diving flanks that other supports can't because you have a get out of jail free card.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? So even though the healing hasn't been nerfed, but the environment around Kiriko has changed to where you can play to different of her strengths. Thank goodness.
Yeah, her entire playstyle has just shifted.
Right, because of the heroes that you're playing against. That's it. To me, this is what Kiriko needs to be doing, or should have been doing in previous dive metas, but it just didn't matter because you did too much healing. But your healing, there's nothing to heal now. So...
I noticed my healing has just gone down a lot in general.
Right. That's natural. So like even here, right? Even here, what should you be doing?
I should probably be going on left, right? And then trying to, or maybe flanking left and trying to pressure that Widowmaker. But I don't know if I'd be able to get out.
You're not gonna be able to get there. So what I would do instead is, even just in this situation here, drop position with your Junkrat.
Okay.
You see this off-angle pressure that you have here, right?
Yeah, it's much better than a pike because the Widow can't shoot me.
Right, exactly. It's a much better range for your hero, right? Much better range, whatever.
Yeah.
And then again, I wouldn't say the TP play is a good one, but this is again a situation where, like, theoretically you could TP here and Suzu, and they might try and punish you, but they might not be able to. You know, I'm not advocating that necessarily, but
it's just showing how I could get more value.
This would be the matchup if you were to do something like that. This would be the matchup versus this kind of a composition that I have a feeling, I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong, this matchup that you're playing up against is not as rare as it used to be.
I see it more often.
Okay. I feel like you're seeing more snipers, probably with Sniper Tracer. Yeah, okay.
A lot of Tracer. So.
Yeah. Tracer definitely complicates things. But, like, let's put it this way. If you were to TP in like that because you had a Tracer on you, then all of a sudden you're not going to get punished with the TP, right? Because the one dive here that might punish you is no longer with you. So right now, could you TP onto the enemy Doom? Or the friendly Doom, I say. The enemy Doom.
I could.
You could, because then what would you do from here?
Just kill their Widow.
Is this a good sightline for you?
Yes, very.
Because where are their snipers?
On low ground. And
they drop,
on me.
right? And then you can avoid them, right? Or you can play at close range, right? So it's always considering that. But I question, is this where you should be?
No, I was more staging here, just so I'd be able to scout where they're going and then go based off that.
So where would you go? Give me some theoretical scenarios, and where would you position around that?
If they went top right, I'd go on the little bridge under me and just try to spam as they cross.
Okay, you'd set up with your Doomfist. Your Doomfist dives, you peek and you shoot, you know? You peek and you support, and then if they pressure you, you just TP out easily. Same thing maybe left here. But but you notice how, again, it's all about, like, closing the distance a little bit and playing in a ha, you can't do anything with me. I'm just a nuisance in your backline. I mean, really, that's what you're doing. That's really what you're doing. You're you should be an unkillable flanker, essentially. A low damage flanker. Okay.
I'm just creating that problem.
Right, just creating a nuisance, because right now, all you are is just another head for Widow to click.
Yeah.
And then now there's no excuse for it either, because I mean, this is kind of what we talked about with the Doomfist isolation that you were describing, because, you know, you should be here. You know, you should be here. Maybe not on top of him, but you should be here, right? Because I'm not scared of this. Kiriko ult this sucker, you know? Whatever. Yeah. You need to be here, because, like, you're having to respect the snipers, obviously, because that's what your hero does. But then that means that you are playing like a scared chicken of everything, and then your Doomfist, who's trying to create space, has his supports AFK. Yep. You need to be in with your Doom, not on top of your Doom, but you need to be helping.
I need to be setting up just something so we can live.
I mean, it just feels so bad, like, what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Again, it's the range. It comes back to the range, because a lot of what I'm saying is applicable because of what they're playing. And the reason why it's important to point that out is because you're going to be seeing a lot more of this than you were previously. There aren't going to be the Reaper Genji tracers where you should just be staging on high ground and poking and then escaping, right? There's going to be the snipers, the ashes, the things like that. Now, tracer is still a problem, but there's still a lot more nuance. This position here, this is something that would be difficult for Zenyatta to hold. Why? What would that do?
Because do? Just punch in and kill my Zen.
And kill your Zen, right? So then you have to play far away, but then all of a sudden now you're dealing with Widow sightlines at this range. So it's a disaster, right? You would have to play, you would literally have to play hide and go seek as Zen. You literally would have to play hide and go seek as Zen. So you don't have to, because you can go play anywhere, bait the Doomfist on you, and if the Doomfist goes, I mean, a lot of the time you'll notice the Doomfist just ignores you, right? Yeah. Right? And that should be feedback to keep going, right? Because he knows if he goes after you, you're just going to TP away, and then it's a waste of time. So keep going. Like here, this is all good. But then at this point in time, I would question, could I swing wide over here, peek this Widowmaker? Could I swing wide over here, see what's going on with my Tracer? Can I help her out? You know what I'm saying? Again, if you had Suzu here, you could TP on your Tracer. Literally, just TP on your Tracer and get away with it. Top left, go inside this room with your Doomfist. Literally position with your Doomfist right here. Why not? Okay. Right? Yeah. And then you stop me. Right. And then if the worst case scenario as we described of, oh, my Ana gets dove, well, you still have TP, don't you? Yep. Stop. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. Right. Get ready to dive. You are a dive hero. I mean, this is what initially. This is people forget this. This is why Kiriko meta, even back when in the brawl, this is why she was a thing, because you could not play dive or spam or any variation of range versus a dive comp, because you had a support that could TP in and kill you. And you had a support that there was you couldn't even trade backlines, right? Because like back in the day, it'd be like, oh, you could play Ana Lucio or Ana, and you could trade the Ana, right? Or block off the Ana's LOS, but no, you have a hero that goes in with the dive and kills the dive. You could not play even Rhine comps because you'd want to play Rhine BAP, right? Well, guess what? You have not only 4 targets diving, you have 5 targets diving. And we've never, ever had that before in the game. Because even in Moira Lucio compositions, what was the range of Moira's aggressive mobility? It was very tight, right?
It's minuscule, yeah.
Right, it was tiny. And not to mention you have a hero that could do all of that and plus have significantly more utility. So you leveraging your aggression with the Doomfist here is what Kiriko's main strength is and or should have been. It's why people ended up just playing Kiriko mirrors, because you couldn't afford to not play the dive mirror, because otherwise you would just get TP'd in on die. That's all that happened. So you had to play heroes that had defensive cooldowns or just slaved in the meta. But then now people are forgetting that and like, oh, Kiriko's a good healer. Well, yes, but that's not why you originally played her. That's how you had to play her within the mirror. But that's not why you originally played her. Now, the really, really important thing here is that this is because of the compositional situation that you're in right now. This is because of the range. The range. I want that word to be imprinted in your brain. It's not so much about I want you to playing more to carry with your mechanics, although I think that's something you could be doing and trying to do more. But we talked about how there's scales of aggression, but whether you were going aggressively for plays or whether you were playing short off angles to heal, whether you were playing defensive or offensive, your positioning was bad. It didn't matter what style you were on the spectrum, it was bad. You were neither defensive nor offensive, you were just bad. And the irony is that you were trying to play often, but the times when you're playing more defensive, you died more often because you were walking into sniper sightlines.